Unfortunately, we have an overweight and obesity problem among our children in Chicago public schools. So we wanted to ask you, if you happen to be the next mayor of the city of Chicago, how do you plan to prioritize this health issue in the Chicago public school system?
Well, at the outset, I want to thank Rochelle Davis and the other members of the Healthy Schools Project for doing this. When you first started this organization, there was very little conversation in the country going on about what happens with school nutrition, and now that issue has risen to the point that you can fill a theater like this with people who are concerned about the issue. So I congratulate you for helping to advance the conversation about child nutrition and what happens in the schools. At the outset, yes, well, yeah, give yourselves a hand. At the outset also, it's important to note that the early nutrition programs passed at the federal level were less about feeding children than they were about disposing of surplus agricultural commodities. And so this program, the nutrition program, started off as a commodity-based program. And I'm just so pleased to see the focus changing, because it is certainly the fact that we cannot allow the schools to be a vehicle for or a dumping place, if you will, for bad food being given to our children. For many children, the school lunch or breakfast is the only meal they have during the day, and that's an unfortunate reality and unfortunate truth about poverty in our time and in our community, but that is the reality. And so it becomes doubly important for that part of the school population that the meal that they receive at school, meals that they receive at school, are healthy, nutritious, and meet the fundamentals of the dietary guidelines from the Department of Agriculture. So having said that, I think that community-based efforts such as this one to raise the quality and the caliber of the offerings given in our public school system are of essential importance, not just, again, to the quality of the program, but to what the children get, and as a response to the kind of obesity, the health problems, because it's not just obesity, it's asthma, it's ADHD, it's all the whole panoply of physical and health issues faced with the school system, in which the food supply is not the greatest. I mean, they used to call them chokies, where the kids are given chokies to eat on the one hand and then deprived of physical education during the day, and so the chokies just kind of sit in their system and help them get overweight and obese. And so I think that the reforms that have been embraced are very important, and of course the leadership from Washington in this area is very important, because it helps to set a tone in favor of physical activity and in favor of healthier food choices. For many of you who may not know, I started an organic beverage company because I am concerned about the caliber and quality of food that's in our food supply generally. So many of the foods that we eat are filled with toxic chemicals that kill us, that give rise to a whole panoply of diseases and ailments that previous generations did not suffer. I'm not a physician, but I ask the question: how many people in the last generation had you ever heard of with pancreatic cancer, for example? And yet now, every time you turn around, there's somebody else that has that ailment. And it's likely, frankly, to be caused by the chemicals that are used not only on the growth side of the agricultural process, but also on the processing side of making food available, or creating our food supply. So I have long been an advocate for organic food offerings, because at least then you know that the toxic chemicals are not used in the growth or the processing of the food. I've been told that organic is too expensive for the school systems. I don't understand that, because frankly, if a school system the size of District 299 were to turn around and start ordering and sourcing organic, that would be a huge impetus to expanding the supply of organic offerings in our food supply across the board,
Now,
and bring the prices down.
Now, to address this issue, we all know